Good morning, class. Today we're going to connect two important ideas: movements and shifts of demand and supply curves, and how these changes affect equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity in the market. This is where theory meets practice because markets are constantly adjusting to these changes. First, let's start with movements along the demand and supply curves. If the price of a good itself changes, we move up or down the existing demand or supply curve. For example, if the price of oranges rises, consumers buy fewer oranges, so we move up the demand curve. Producers, however, are motivated to supply more, so we move along the supply curve in the opposite direction. But notice, when it's just a movement along the curves, the equilibrium price and quantity only change if there's a mismatch between supply and demand. The new intersection point adjusts slightly, but the underlying curves haven't shifted. So movements are about finding the new balance on the same set of curves. Now let's consider shifts. Supposing consumer incomes rise and the good is normal, like fresh fruit. The demand curve shifts to the right. At the old equilibrium price, now there is excess demand. Consumers want more than producers are supplying. This pushes the price upward, and as the price rises, producers are willing to supply more until we reach a new equilibrium. A rightward demand shift raises both equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. A leftward demand shift, say if incomes fall, does the opposite, lowering both equilibrium price and quantity. Now let's shift the supply curve. Imagine farmers discover a new fertilizer that doubles productivity. The supply curve shifts to the right. At the old price, there's now excess supply, so farmers reduce prices to sell the surplus. As the price falls, consumers buy more, and the market settles at a new equilibrium, with lower price but higher quantity. On the other hand, if a drought reduces crop yields, the supply curve shifts left. That creates a shortage at the old price, pushing prices up while equilibrium quantity falls. Finally, what happens if both curves shift at the same time? For example, suppose consumer demand for electric cars increases, while at the same time battery production becomes cheaper. The demand curve shifts right, and the supply curve also shifts right. Equilibrium quantity will definitely rise. But the change in equilibrium price depends on which shift is stronger. If demand rises more than supply,